Hello, welcome to the most dangerous podcast. How are you today, James?
Hey, how you doing? Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
I'm okay, yeah, not too bad.
Good, good.
Just
Busy week?
yeah, just the usual. Same thing I've said the last 4 weeks. Just doing a
Uh,
bit of labouring, trying to
Earn a crust. Yeah, yeah,
earn a crust.
yeah, yeah.
Starting my new venture is tough because no one wants to buy anything just now because everyone's poor. So
What's your new venture?
my new
Podcasting.
venture, yeah, podcasting. I've got I've got a lot riding on this. So how's your week been?
Really boring. You know,
Really?
yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Usually I jump on and go, did this mad thing happen this week or something or another? Absolutely nothing's happened this week, so I've got nothing to report. I've been playing Cyberpunk. Do you know what that is?
No, actually.
So it's a PlayStation game.
Oh,
It's
right. Okay.
yeah. So it's one of these big open world Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead
Yeah.
type thing, but it's set in 2077. It's pretty cool, actually.
Anyway, on to today's podcast is
Of course,
about.
yeah. What are you doing today? Sorry, I should have asked, shouldn't I?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I should have sent you some notes probably. So
I got a
um,
WhatsApp. I think that's that's what I'm working off this week.
a couple of lines off me.
Yeah, I should be so lucky.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be getting cut, no doubt. So no, we're looking at jobs. The world's most dangerous job.
Jobs. This is a big one.
This is a
When you
big one.
when you sent me the substantial notes that you WhatsApped across, I thought jobs like this isn't a one episode thing, surely.
Well, yeah, you'd think it was a lot more interesting than it really was.
I can instantly think of loads of jobs that are dangerous.
Well, yeah, definitely, definitely. But well, you keep them to yourself, and you can
Yeah,
throw
I
them in.
won't I won't
Because
ruin it.
I'll be honest, what I've actually got is I've got what is officially the world's most dangerous job, and I've got a list of other jobs that I think are should be more dangerous.
Yeah, officially
Um,
according to who?
well, the statistics.
Oh right,
Yeah,
all right. I'll stop. I'm not going to jump ahead.
yeah.
Should we get cracking?
We'll get cracking. Yes. So, James, I had a look at the history of jobs because I thought there must have been a time in the world where jobs didn't exist, and there must have been the first job.
Yeah,
Um,
I suppose
and
back in the day, people were just kind of living off the land, weren't they? You'd have a plot of land, and you'd
well, yeah,
have a goat if you were lucky, and you just live and off your crops that you made. And I suppose it wasn't till what, Middle Ages or whatever when sort of commerce came into it. I'll trade you some milk for some grain and all that. So yeah,
well, are you ready for this? Jobs actually started 40,000 years ago.
wow,
Way
really?
before the Middle Ages, yeah. What I've actually found out is the organisation of work, as they call it, may have begun before the evolution of Homo sapiens.
Oh God, who was the bastard that set that? I hate jobs. Can I just say for the record, I hate jobs. I just the concept of it just winds me up. Like
Yeah, I
having
suppose
to
that
be somewhere and do something. But
just to
go
live, just to
just
survive.
yeah, just
That's
to
what it
live in
is.
my house. I have to go
Um,
and do stuff.
well, as mentioned, I've sort of changed my job, and the pressure I'm feeling the last sort of 4, 5, 6 weeks that if you're not earning enough money, you can't pay your bills. It's that
Well,
simple.
yeah,
And
you have to do it. I get
what's the choice?
yeah. Likewise. I had a brief period when I was unemployed. I was between jobs, and it's just the worst thing. It's just really depressing. So I suppose it does give you a some sort of self worth, if you like. But I
Yeah,
don't know. I mean, I think if I won the lottery, I wouldn't have a job.
I wouldn't miss working.
I wouldn't. Yeah. So go on. Yeah.
No,
Sorry, I interrupted there. Who invented? What was the first job? And
back in the days of the Homo sapiens, the Neanderthals, very sort of early man, um, the development of both tools, a more complex brain structure, and linguistic communication, along with the division of labour, we're actually responsible for starting the human conquest of nature and differentiating human beings from other animal species.
That's too many words for me.
So,
in a nutshell,
yeah. So, in short,
somebody wanted another person to start sharpening their tools for them.
Basically, yeah. If you actually think of most animals out there, they're responsible for their own home, for finding their own food and stuff like that. And humans, early man, they were the ones that first actually realized, hang on a second, you're better at doing that and I'm better at doing this.
I can get somebody else to do this for me.
That's it. And what happened is you had some guy walking about with his wolf skin just roughly over his shoulders, and he walked past another guy that was wearing a 3-piece suit made out of his wolf skin.
Yeah.
And he went, shit, you're really good at that. But I tell you what, it took you 3 weeks to catch that wolf. I caught mine in a couple of hours. So I tell you what, I'll catch the wolves, you make the clothes. And that was the sort of early, the beginnings of division of labour. And it actually started to make humans more efficient.
I suppose that's not really a job, though, is it? That's more sort of trading, isn't it?
It's trading, yeah. It's the early sort of signs of jobs, and what sort of moved on from that is where they would actually get people to do the jobs for them. So, what you were saying about the guy that had his plot of land with his his grain and stuff like that, he would maybe have a large plot of land and actually say, well, I've got loads of grain here, but I'm not selling it because I'm spending most of my time watering it and feeding it and cutting the grains and stuff like that. So, what people started doing is going to the village simpleton and saying, look, I've got a wee job for you here. Do you want to pick the grain? And I'll go to the market and I can sell it and I can, start marketing it.
What do you mean no? If you say no, I'm going to whip you until you do it. That's the sort of thing.
Well, yeah. I mean,
was that something different?
But yeah, so in the very sort of the first small villages, like I said, there was the division of labour. That's where you would actually get, people doing the things that they were best at. You would have the baker, the farmers, the hunters, and without sounding sexist, because this was the way it was, the women would they would prepare the food and provide the childcare. So instead of each individual man, woman, couple doing all their own stuff, villages would actually start to divide the labour and created the first jobs where, it then helped the village to thrive.
Yeah, I suppose a job is a particular skill, isn't it? So I can do this.
Yeah.
And if you give me that, I'll do that for you. Which, again, is a trade. I would argue, actually, that jobs only really came into play when money was created or invented. I don't know. So because that's when you trade a skill for money, which you then go on to sort of spend on other things. When you're just kind of like trading stuff, saying like I'll catch a wolf, you make a jacket for me. That's just trading skill. That's just trading, isn't it? But when money comes involved, that's when the person who earns that money because they've got that skill can then go off to other people with skills and say, well, I'll buy that grain off you now because I've just been paid from this guy for catching a wolf, type thing.
Yeah, so it's not the guy growing the grains exchanging the grain for meat from the guy that catches the meat.
Yeah.
The guy that's growing the grains then paying 5 people to harvest the grain and giving them money, which then they can go and exchange for something else.
Which they go down the pub with and
get pissed.
Yeah, so I think that's where the job. I think that's the flip for me. So yeah, I mean it's weird for me how like society values certain jobs over others. I don't know if like some jobs are like a doctor or whatever. You need to know your shit to be a doctor.
Absolutely.
But like something like I've thought this forever. Like someone like a bin man, right? Like how valuable is a bin man? You need someone to come round and like collect all your shit and shite and take it away. All right, you're not particularly. There's no actual skill involved doing that, but society should value them like way more than I think they do.
Yeah, I think I mean, jobs are supposed to be higher paid depending on how much skill is involved in the job.
Mm.
So obviously, it's a supply and demand. There's less people are able to be brain surgeons. That's why they pay brain surgeons more money. But like you said,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
brain surgeon, when he's finished, or she, and they walk out the room, there's then a team of low-paid people that all come in and clean up the mess and everything and take the rubbish away.
yeah.
Now that
They're
brain
just
surgeon, you wouldn't be able to then go in and do surgery the following day if that room hadn't been cleaned and all the crap taken away.
yeah. So they're just as valuable, aren't they? I mean,
Absolutely.
to a degree, I suppose. It's,
I
yeah.
often like. You ever watch Futurama?
Yeah, I did.
In the first episode, they actually scan him, and it tells you what job he's best at.
Yeah, I remember
And
that
then,
episode.
they
Like
put
pizza
like a
delivery boy.
yeah, they put a chip in him, and I think that's quite a good concept because how do you know the job you're doing's the job you're best at?
Yeah, yeah. I suppose. Well, I don't know. It's whatever makes you happy, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, but
I,
I
I,
can't think of any jobs I've done that have made me that happy.
no, I know. I think we're all both in the wrong job, then, aren't we?
Yeah,
Like, yeah. No, just going back to that future, I do remember that future because he like
uh,
goes from 1999, I think it is. He's a
yeah.
pizza delivery boy, and then he gets frozen. He wakes up, and he's like, "I'm in the future. There must be loads of like really good things that I can be and do." And then he gets scanned. It's like pizza delivery boy or delivery person or something like that. Yeah. What did you want to be when you were growing up? What was the thing that you
I
thought?
wanted to be a vet, and I also want to be an electronic engineer.
Oh,
How
really?
mad's that? Yeah,
I think yeah. I think an electronic engineer sounds better than it is. I
yeah.
think.
It's yeah.
Yeah. I
It's a
wanted
bit.
to be a paleontologist.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, like dig up dinosaurs and stuff.
yeah.
And I probably could have done it. I don't think there's that much involved. I mean, you have to be a doctor and stuff, don't you? But
Yeah.
I can do that. No worries.
Easy. So James, yeah, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was some of the jobs that we've actually had in our lives because um, as you know, my dad was what I would have called a entrepreneur, a businessman, and
Yeah,
I've grown up with a work ethic from a really young age. I remember my dad was selling Malaysian jewelry when
oh yeah.
I was quite young, and I remember him telling me and my sister that if we stayed up all night packing this Malaysian jewelry into these kits that he was given to women to go around the streets and try and sell, a bit like the Avon lady, um, that we could have the day off school.
Oh yeah.
And
I bet that didn't happen. He was a bit of a Del boy, wasn't he?
oh yeah, yeah, still went to school knackered.
Yeah, yeah. Of course he did.
Um, so yeah, and I remember when we were quite when I say quite young, we're probably 12, 13. My dad had a concreting business, and he actually, do you remember we used to work in the summer, pushing the wheelbarrows and stuff with Richie,
Yeah,
Stan, and Chrissy.
I didn't do that. I think I did it once. Well, for like a month, I think I did it.
Yeah, I learned a lot working the concrete. It was quite a kind of earthy thing to do, you know. Some of the language that you learn, I learned swear words I didn't know existed.
Yes, I learned words that I would never repeat,
Yeah.
and I'd never say even to this day.
Another job of yours that I remember was when you lived with me. We've mentioned this in previous podcasts, but our short spell living together, and you worked in a news agents and had to be in for like 6 a.m. And I'm
Yeah.
sure we sat up drinking quite heavily one night. And
No, that's not true. Actually, no.
is that not true?
No. So yeah, I did work in a news agents, and that's pretty. It messes up your body clock a little bit, that, because sometimes you have to be up at 6 in the morning. Sometimes you have to be up late. This was one of these news agents that stays open till 8, 9 o'clock at night.
Ah,
So it was a Saturday. I remember it specifically. And on the Friday night, I'd been out or I'd been to yours or something, and just got completely tanked. But on the Saturday, I didn't have to be in work till about sort of 4 o'clock or something, 4 or 5 o'clock. And then I'd do the evening shift.
the night shift.
Yeah. So I thought on the Friday, well, I don't have to be in till late, so it's fine, isn't it? I'll be all right. I woke up on the Saturday with probably one of the worst hangovers I've ever had in my life. Managed somehow to get myself to work for 4 o'clock, still feeling absolutely awful. when you're working in news agents, I don't think you've ever worked in a shop or anything like that, have you?
No.
One of the perks, it's not a perk really, but you can basically just help yourself to anything. I mean, you pay for it, obviously,
Right, yeah,
but
of course,
you can just go, it's quite fancy, a can of Coke. Here you go. Here's 50p. Well, it used to be 50p, but
or a topic or something.
yeah, it's because there's just loads of stuff everywhere, so you just end up getting dead fat. Going, oh yeah, nice, I'll have one of them. Yeah, so I got into work and I was absolutely parched, because I was hungover. I was like, oh god, I need something to sort me out before I start. I arrived about 15 minutes early, so I got myself a pint of milk for some reason. So I don't know why. And then went upstairs and I necked it because I was so thirsty. I thought, oh no, it's not really hit the spot. So I went back downstairs and I said to the person I was working with, I was like, all right, just before I start, I'm just going to have another drink and then we'll get going. So I got myself a litre of orange juice. So I necked that. And then for some reason I started to feel a little bit ill.
God knows why.
So I started my shift about 10 minutes in, and then somebody had to do the crisps, right? So I went down into the cellar to get the crisps that we needed. These boxes of crisps stacked high, that sort of all the different types, Walkers, and I just got down there and I thought, oh no. This isn't.
Is it that when your mouth starts filling with saliva?
Yeah, I get that funny taste, it's not not normal saliva. And I just projectile vomited all over these crisps, everywhere. It was the worst, right? And I just sat there for about 2 minutes. I thought, what am I going to do here now? Because it's in a cellar, a really confined, warm, damp place. It started to stink really bad. So I didn't know what to do. So I went up to the other person that was working. I suppose she was a bit more senior than me, so I kind of went, I've just been sick on all the crisps downstairs. She just did the face palm
I remember I actually worked in Dutton's wine bar for a little while. And out of the red wines, there were bottles that were like 8 quid, 10 quid, 12 quid. And there was this bottle of red wine that was like 32 quid a bottle. I remember, similar thing, I went down to the basement to do a stock check. And I lifted a box of this wine up, and the arse fell out the box.
Oh shit! And that's like 6 bottles or something.
I think it was 6. Yeah, all 6.
My job today, I'll get given stuff. And I don't know what I'm doing here, and sometimes you just kind of have to wing it to a degree, I suppose. I mean, I shouldn't really be saying this. Given my profession, but
we haven't put our surnames on this yet, have we?
No, but not wing it. That's probably the wrong word. Research it and things like that, and it's and it pisses you off because you kind of a bit I haven't got time for this. I just want to get on with my job that I know how to do. But I think that just happens in most jobs. You just get thrown in and you hope for the best. I haven't got a clue. When I go to work, I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
Have you ever gone to the doctors, told them their symptoms, and they get a book out?
Yes, yeah, I have actually, a big green book, I think it is. You're sitting there going, I could do this.
It might be that.
Yeah, I've done this. I did this before I came on the internet. Yeah. I've been in the doctors and I've said I've been on the internet. I think it's this, and they've gone, yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute. So we've been rambling on for ages about jobs, but you've still not told me or even gone near the most dangerous job. So can you elaborate on this a little bit?
Well, I thought about doing jobs, and I thought, there's some crazy, crazy jobs out there. I wonder what's the world's most dangerous job. So I did quite a bit of research on it, unbelievably. And I thought, right, this is the world's most dangerous job. This has got to be like a shark dentist or, a landmine diffuser or something like that.
Isn't a shark dentist a vet?
Yes, I suppose so. I don't know. I suppose so. But but yeah, so I did a lot of research, and sort of every website I came to about the most dangerous jobs, and this is around the world, always came back to the same job. And I even remember like ice road truckers. Do you remember that? The
Yeah, yeah.
world's
There's
most
like
dangerous
those.
job,
Yeah, I was going to
you
mention
know.
this, but well, maybe we'll
And
come on to it.
and the world's most dangerous job, um, the world's most dangerous job by the amount of people killed. Okay,
Deaths.
fatality,
Here we go.
injury rate, deaths per 100,000 workers is a lumberjack.
What?
A lumberjack.
No, a lumberjack.
Lumberjack. That
Is that
is,
even a is that a job?
well, it's actually a logging worker.
Okay,
Is the
a
official
logging.
term.
Right.
Known affectionately as a lumberjack.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's the comic book name.
the comic
Lumberjack.
book name, yeah, the guy in the tartan shirt and the jeans and the big chainsaw.
That's right. He's okay.
He's okay, yeah, yeah. Some big Canadian guy, you know.
Yeah, a lumberjack. That's surprising because I would have thought it'd be something like, I don't know, an astronaut
Oh
or
yeah.
like
Now,
like like a deep sea diver or something like that.
how do you feel about this? Because I actually thought, what about a soldier?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Now, I couldn't get that classed as a job because in none of the most dangerous jobs I searched, a soldier came into it. Is that different to a job?
that's I think the government hide the figures
Yeah,
to make because they advertise on the telly, don't they? Come and be a soldier,
yeah,
but don't look up the death rate.
yeah. He didn't die. He's just not coming home for a while. We've sent him somewhere else.
Yeah,
Um,
that's surely though, yeah. But I
because I
mean,
mean that job, you're running about with people shooting at you, and
but even so, like, when did records begin? Because, like, in like the World Wars or whatever,
Mhm.
technically speaking, the people that went and fought in those, only a handful were actually soldiers. Like, a lot of them were, conscripted to go and fight. So you could arguably say, well, it wasn't their job. They were bakers and butchers. They
Yeah,
just got.
true. Yeah,
It's only recently, well, not recently. That's not right, but it, it's a profession now for people.
oh, it is. People
Fact,
join the army to train to do other things, to become
yeah.
a musician or a doctor, or you know.
Do they?
What's the best way to learn the violin?
Yeah, musician.
Next thing you're running about Afghanistan with a machine gun.
You're there in like a dorm with like 40 other people playing your violin. Oh, shut the fuck up, Biggins. The middle of lockdown in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Shh.
So basically, logging workers. So that their job is to obviously cut down big trees.
Yeah.
But I used to think, how can that be dangerous? Because you stand at the bottom of the tree, you cut a little wedge in timber, and it
Yeah,
falls
just
down.
move out of the way. Don't let the tree fall on you.
Yeah, that's it. You work out
Nice.
which way it's going, and you go somewhere else.
Yeah, the
But
other side of it.
they actually have to go up, rope themselves up, and go way up and cut big branches down and stuff like that.
Oh, right.
And I actually read that one of the most common things is when you're on a branch, cutting a branch, that someone cuts a branch higher up and it hits you on the way down.
So there'll be a few of them working
There'll
on
be a few of them, yeah.
one tree at the same time.
Because I think these are like, you're talking about the big American redwoods. These massive trees, like the trunk of the trees, like your house. You know.
Yeah. Like this place needs a McDonald's. Let's cut down these trees that have been here for 5,000 years.
Yeah. To make another McDonald's because that one's 10 minutes drive away. So and other things is when they're cutting through the branches, the chainsaw slips and it cuts their leg off or something like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And obviously, there's lots of, they're in slippy forests, there's roots and branches, they can be chopping with a chainsaw and slip and trip over a root and the chainsaw cuts their head off.
There's lots of hazards, but then there's also lots of hazards doing other things as well. Like,
well, there are.
So is that, I don't know if you know this, do you have to get some sort of qualification to be a lumberjack, or can you just rock up in a check shirt and go, I'm here.
I think you need the check shirt. I think that
That's the
as
only
long as you
thing.
got your check shirt, yeah.
So you have to go to a particular shop to get that, and then
Um,
you're in.
yeah, and it actually counts. Now, I thought this was a bit sneaky, really, because um, it counts transportation accidents. So you know the big lorries with all the big logs on them.
Yeah, see, that's
They,
not fair, is it?
yeah, it
I mean,
counts them.
because you get office workers who die going to work in car accidents.
Yes, that's
So
it.
you know what I mean. So you
Absolutely.
can say, well, yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. That doesn't work, does it? These
So
figures, these stats are off. I'd say.
if you think about the people that were in the Twin Towers, I mean, were they? Does that make office jobs really dangerous? Because
I mean,
5,000 of
yeah.
them
I
died
mean,
in one day.
yeah, that's a fair point. If you're going to put traveling accidents in the lumberjack thing,
Yeah,
then yeah, the tragedy of 9/11, you could say, well, if you work in an office, that counts towards the number of accidents
absolutely. Yeah.
in the workplace.
So, other common hazards, other than obviously, like I said, cutting yourself with your own chainsaw and someone cutting a branch off above you, include extreme weather conditions. So, obviously, you know, they're up trees and stormy weather, rain and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Insect bites and stings.
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, you could get stung by a wasp.
it's not going to kill you though, is it? Unless you go into what's it, anaphylactic shock? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, I think that's close enough.
When you're basically allergic to stings. But then if you were allergic to stings, you just wouldn't be a lumberjack, would you?
No, you'd probably get an
But then
inboard.
saying that though, there are towns where that's the only trade, isn't it? So you get logging towns in America, and where you go to school, and when you grow up, you're gonna be a lumberjack, just like
That's
your dad
it, yeah.
was, just like your granddad was. So
Imagine when you're 5 years old, you get your little Tommy chainsaw to play with and practice. And,
yeah.
so I mean, it says most common logging accidents: falls, slip
Yeah.
and fall, or trip and fall.
That makes sense. You just fall out of the tree.
Yeah. There are countless reasons for a logger worker in a forest might slip or trip and fall as the logger negotiates uneven terrain, mud, wet leaves, loose rock, roots, holes, and cut branches, logs, or stumps. I mean, that's being a bit careless, really, isn't it?
It's all the same reason.
Yeah,
Uneven ground.
that's it. And falling objects. So nearly 25% of all logging accidents are caused by falling logs, limbs, or trees that hit people. That's what it says.
So someone further up cuts their arm off with the
Yeah.
chainsaw, and it falls down and hits the guy underneath it.
That's
he
what it
falls
said.
out of the tree.
Now, this was from, believe it or not, Encyclopedia Britannica. So, I mean,
Posh one.
this isn't dodgy shit from the internet.
the real
This is
deal, yeah.
Proper real deal, yeah. And it also says loggers working at heights may also drop tools and equipment that strike people below. I mean, imagine not just being cut by a chainsaw, but being hit by a chainsaw flying through the air.
It sounds like lumberjacks are all a bit of a bunch of dicks.
Yeah, need to be just a bit more careful, really, don't they?
Yeah.
And one of the other ones is obviously defective equipment. So it's basically saying if your chainsaw's not sharp enough when you're cutting through things, it can kick back and hit you, and people getting electric shocks if the weather's bad and things like that.
I suppose. But aren't they petrol? No. See, electric shocks from where?
I mean, you'd have to have a hell of an extension lead, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Way up the tree.
Yeah, it's all petrol motors, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's the sort of hazards, and I was a little bit disappointed, but I thought, well, I'm going to need to talk about this because this is statistically the world's most dangerous job. But the typical injuries are broken bones, head and traumatic brain injury, spinal cord damage, potentially causing paralysis, internal organ damage, which can lead to shock, internal bleeding, and crushed digits, i.e. fingers and toes.
Yeah. Right, I'm sorry, I don't think I agree with this. Even this early on, I'm putting my foot down. The reason I don't agree with it is I think the stats might be a bit skewed. So, how many lumberjacks are there in the world?
Thousands, hundreds of thousands,
Thousands,
probably.
hundreds, yeah, loads.
Yeah,
Like, how many astronauts are there in the world?
not that many.
Yeah,
There must be.
100
I think
maybe.
there must be. I wouldn't even think that. I think it's got to be less than
Less.
100 astronauts.
Yeah, so
Mm.
I think you have to perhaps look at the ratio more than the the amount, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. So more astronauts. I mean, I suppose not even that many astronauts die these days, do they? When there was that one where it blew up on the challenge. Was it the Challenger? It sort of
There was
blew up when it was
Challenger and there was Columbia. One
so that
blew up coming home and one blew up going out.
right, and that they was so both astronauts were manned ships, were they?
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
both of those. I
They
know
had
one
like
definitely was.
8 or 9 people on each one.
Yeah, on each one. So that's what 20 people. Say
Yeah.
just for argument's sake, in a pool of 70,
Mhm.
maybe. Whereas you're looking at lumberjacks, however, did you get the amount of deaths like
Yeah,
a year or
it's
anything?
132 per 100,000 workers.
Right.
So for every 100,000 lumberjacks, 132 will die.
See,
And you're
so
saying
the
for every
ratio
70 astronauts, 20 will die. But that's every year. So the year that they came up
but
with that
then
statistics, 0 astronauts might have died.
well, that's true. But then astronauts don't really do that much when they're just kind of sitting with their feet up, waiting to go into space. I'm sure they do a lot more than that. Yeah. Come on, where's the phone call? Yeah, but I mean, what do astronauts do when they're not being astronauts? Are they like scientists and stuff?
Yeah, I think a lot of them are like scientists and
They work in
they're
like NASA.
trainee astronauts.
Yeah, I know, but what does that? Do you get paid for doing that? Because you might not even ever get to go. So there must be something else that they do. They must
I
kind of.
remember that Columbia or Challenger, one of them that blew up. There was like a school teacher on board
That's
and
right.
stuff like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah. Did she win a
um,
competition or something?
I think
I
so.
don't know.
Yeah,
She got picked randomly.
yeah. Bet she wished she'd come runner up in that competition. So James, I've got to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed myself. This is my subject, and I thought, well, I've got to find the world's most dangerous job.
I
Everywhere I
know.
looked,
I was thinking of something,
yeah,
spectacular, like deep sea. Like you said before, you get these programs that are like, what is it? The wild, like the trawlers that go out. What's that called? I can't
like
remember now.
deep sea shrimp fishing or something like
Yeah, it's
bubblegum.
not called not called that, but yeah, that's what it's about.
North
But
Sea
yeah.
trawlers or something.
The wildest catch or something like that, isn't it? Or something.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So I thought, well, yeah, well, everyone's saying that the lumberjacks the most dangerous job. So
I know.
do I need to
Shocked.
run with that? So there we go. I've told you a bit about being a lumberjack. It is dangerous. Yeah, you might lose an arm or die or
I
something
can
like that.
see why it is dangerous,
Yeah,
definitely, because you've got heavy duty tools with
yeah.
sharp blades. You've got big tall trees that you're at the top of at the same time, and that, as you mentioned, which I didn't realise, there's multiple people up the same tree all at once.
Mhm.
So I can see why it's dangerous, but I'm a bit kind of, I don't know, deflated, should we say?
Disappointed. Yeah.
I'll tell you one that might be though. And this, I don't think this happens anymore. Health and safety. You ever seen those photos of when New York were building all the high rises in like
The
the 20s and stuff?
skyscraper ones.
Yeah, you see those old photos of the workers,
Yeah.
and they're sitting on like these iron beams.
It doesn't happen anymore in a lot of countries, but I think there's some countries that stuff still goes on.
Yeah, like Qatar when they're building World Cup stadiums.
Yeah, yeah. Look up a guy called Fred Dibner that used to go up and knock down chimneys, all the old chimneys from the Victorian age, and he used
Fred
to go up.
Dibner.
Dibner, yeah, he used
Is
to
that
go
his
up to like
job, or is he just a dickhead?
it's just a vandal.
Just piss people off.
People wake
Is
up.
this your
Oh,
chimney?
my
Have some of that.
fucking chimney.
It sounds like
Um,
it sounds like it sounds like a buzzard that it down the pub.
yeah.
Seen Fred Dibner? Oh yeah, he's on someone's roof.
So yeah, and do you know what the first one that came up? I looked up mad dangerous jobs, and we talked
Oh,
about
yeah.
them. A Mount Everest Sherpa.
Yeah,
So-
that popped into my head before, but I didn't say it. You said it. Yeah.
Someone's job is actually to go up what we decided wasn't quite the most dangerous mountain in the world.
Yeah, but it's one of them, and
Yeah.
someone's like you say.
And quite a high
So,
percentage of people die going up Mount Everest, and the Sherpas are part of that, Mind you, I think when the guy's like starting to die, the Sherpa's like, I quit, I'm off.
on your way, mate.
See you later. Yeah. I'm only here to carry your bag.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Good point.
yeah, so that could be more dangerous than being a lumberjack.
And you even get sort of not everyday jobs, but like prostitutes. That's a
Yeah,
dangerous job.
I
You could
suppose
get
so.
like
Yeah.
abusive people, and like a lot of murders that happen are prostitutes, and you get crazy people. So even just stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think there are loads of dangerous jobs. I'm really surprised it's a lumberjack that's been voted number one.
I wonder how many prostitutes are killed by lumberjacks.
Yeah. Is this not in your research? No, you not look into this.
I didn't. So another one here. You ready? A snake milker.
Hang on. Wait a minute.
You're
Snakes,
you're trying to work out where snakes' udders are, aren't you?
snakes don't produce milk.
A snake milker is responsible for extracting venom from the snake's fangs.
Ah,
And to do it, they get a glass and stretch a piece of silicone over it, and then get the snake to bite the silicone. So
I think I've seen that. Yeah, and then
squirts
they
out their fangs
extract
into the glass.
Oh no! But why do they call it that?
I don't know.
There's got to be a cooler name than snake milker.
I also thought another
Surely.
dangerous job. There must be an antidote tester. Right, we'll give you the poison, and then we'll see if the antidote works. That's got to be.
It on animals first, surely.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And but you're right though. At some point there has to be that crossover where they say, right, okay,
it might
we're
work
gonna have
on
to
an
try it on
animal,
humans now.
not a human. Yeah, just try it on
Yeah.
some prisoners or something. And the last one that intrigued me was volcano mining.
All right.
And
It's some sort of scientist thing, isn't it?
no, it says here it's to get sulfur. They're mining for sulfur in volcanoes.
Oh god.
And it says
Not
here,
active ones though. Not like bubbling lava.
I think
Surely not.
well, what I got here, it says, according to CNN, the people who mine the Ijen volcano in East Java might come to work in a t-shirt, and the tools of the trade are a pole and a couple of baskets on a stick. They're mining for sulfur, and they often spend long hours in absolutely toxic conditions inhaling the volcano's poisonous fumes because their employer doesn't give them gas masks.
Wow.
That sounds more dangerous than cutting trees down.
It does, yeah. But then I don't know. Like they haven't even got the equipment. I was going to say they haven't got gas masks.
Basket and a stick.
That's the other thing, isn't it? I suppose with certain like countries and stuff, it's hard to. The figures are hard to judge because there's different regulations. Perhaps things aren't reported as quite well as they are in other places.
Well, yeah.
So maybe these people who mine volcanoes, a lot of them do die or get seriously ill or whatever. But if their employer's not giving them gas masks, I think it's highly unlikely that he's going to go, we've had 5 deaths today. So it's hard to judge, isn't it?
Reported, is it?
Mm.
So James, it's so that's it really. That's my jobs. Statistically, according to quite a lot of sites on the internet, lumberjack is the most dangerous job. We need to do our conclusions. Before we started the podcast, kind of disagreed with it.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think you've picked a really difficult subject here, and I honestly think it could have been one that we could have done over a number of episodes, because there's loads of dangerous jobs. But you're the man with the figures. I've not looked into it, but still, there's just something niggling in the back of my mind that says there's something not right here. Something doesn't sit right with me.
I think you've got the best point that you made in the last 5 minutes. That
Thanks.
these these figures. I mean, in these third world countries where there's kids down mines, they're not going to send the government statistics of how many people have died that day and stuff. So I think what we're looking at is probably out of the regulated jobs, lumberjack is the most dangerous. But out of the jobs out there in the world,
Yeah.
There's probably loads of jobs that they're doing in countries that aren't regulated, and people are dying all the time.
That's it.
Um,
And I think one of the points that we touched on at the very beginning of the podcast is the actual definition of a job and things like that. So there's so many other facets to this topic that I think it's very difficult to, in just 45 minutes, however, just to come down onto one and say, yeah, this is the most dangerous job that's going. And I'm sorry, Fraser, I just don't see it. It's not for me, this one.
I agree with you. It's not the most dangerous job. What I would like to think is, hopefully as we develop this podcast, that we can actually, maybe even put it out to people and see if some people can give us some suggestions of what they think, and we can maybe revisit it at some
Good
stage.
idea. Maybe somebody out there has a really dangerous job,
Yeah.
and they can say, well, my job's way more dangerous than being a lumberjack. Look what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, that's definitely something that we should pursue and
We'll
look
come
into.
back. We'll come back to jobs, definitely.
I think so, yeah.
So anyway, that's it for this week. It's been a pleasure as always, James.
It has, yeah. I've enjoyed it again. I always enjoy it. It's great. So thanks very much for listening, everybody.